Welcome. In front of me I have the HONOR X7d, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device and its specifications, along with just my general opinion about the device. Okay, so let's just get straight into this. I am going to begin by saying that this is basically a budget phone. So its specifications obviously will be on a lower end. Why is it upside down? For God's sakes, come on, you have one job. One freaking job. So here's the device. And below that, I have just paperwork and a cable. Sorry for the cut. Needed to sneeze. Okay, so like I said, paperwork, cable, Type C to Type A, and that's about it. So let's peel this off. Come on, come on. Give me an arrow. So why isn't it peeling off? For God's sakes, come on. Again, one job. There we go. Okay, now that this is off, let's boot it up. Okay. Okay, so in a second you'll see the display right here, and the display is a 6.77 inches in size, so pretty decent size. That's what she said. And the resolution right here is a little bit on the lower end, though. It's 720 by 1610. So it's basically a 720p resolution, which is for 2025. Actually, I would say it's a low, but let's be honest, games are running at like a 480p nowadays because upscaling in AI. That being said, this device comes with an AI button. Now, as far as I could already tell, we already had that. It was the effing power button that got converted into that. So now we got AI on the power button, and we got dedicated button for that. So we have just, on this device, increased the amount of ways you can launch bullshit-ass AI by additional 25%, presumably. So we have from the corner, through the app, through holding the power button, through saying the phrase, and through now the AI button. Great. It's not like one was already enough. No, we get to have 100 different ways to launch the same bullshit. Awesome. Anyway, so let's quickly go through the setup just so we can see how this looks, and also how fast the setup actually runs. Which, newsflash, it's a bit sluggish. Cool, whatever, data's good. Yes, privacy and whatever, don't track me, like you're gonna ever listen to me, Google. I'm gonna believe that one. No thanks, go piss off with your data gathering and navigation gestures, sure. Ooh, wow, that was rough. Okay, now the device is actually in the home screen. It seems to be running actually pretty well. All things considered. Let's press the power. Also, this is the mobile AI assistant. Okay. And what is AI in here, you might wonder? Absolutely effing nothing. We have notes, calculator, flashlight, screenshot, basically to-do list, do not disturb, open an app, clean up, and screen recorder. Which one of those is AI? None of them. Literally not a single one. Awesome. Great AI bullshit that isn't even AI. What the fuck are you doing here, Honor? What is this? You said it's an AI button. It's literally on the freaking box. And it doesn't even have any AI functions. So you're literally bullshitting your way into this. Now let's see this one. Does this actually launch AI? Look at that. This one actually does. So great. But the dedicated button doesn't do what it's dedicated for. Okay. Amazing. Now, like I said, this device is on a budget side, so there are some shortcomings. And one of them will be the resolution of this display, like I mentioned, being at 720p, which is just absolutely abysmal for 2025. It is on, or luckily, running 120 Hz refresh rate. So it means that, you know, the scrolling and stuff like that will feel nice and smooth as well, as long as the processor can keep up. And the processor in here is one that is going to leave a little bit to desired, which is a Snapdragon 685. Boy, oh boy, are we kind of like using outdated tech right here. When was this processor released exactly? Let me just quickly check. Let's see. Release the date. It was released in 2022, January. Wow, we have 2025 right now. Actually, end of it. So that is a bit old processor in here. And at the time of releasing this processor from Snapdragon, this was their lower end processor. So not only do we get low end processor in here, it's an old low end processor. Great. We're off to a great start for 150 whopping euros. This honestly, at this point, this phone seems more like a joke or an insult, rather than an actually compelling device. And I'll go into it in a second why. Now, let's continue on with the specifications. So we have a 128 gigabytes with 6 gigabytes of RAM in here at the base entry. Can you like freaking unlock? Come on, there we go. So 6 gigabytes of RAM, and you can get it to 256 with 8 gigs of RAM. And let's grab this and see what we're dealing here with storage or expandability, more like. And we get absolutely a full of it. No expandability. So 256 is the highest amount of storage you can get on this device. God forbid you ever need more than that. So yeah, don't look at this device as a great kind of device for storing your data. You're probably going to be relying on cloud if you need more than 256, because it's not like you can get any more than that. Now let's move on to the cameras at the back. And here we have oh boy, this phone is already wrecking my throat because it's so great. So in here we're looking at what looks to be or pretends to be two camera setup. And the reason I'm saying pretends to be, because usually that's not the case. And yep, I am correct here, but just looking at it. We have 108 megapixel 1.8 aperture 24mm wide lens, and then it's followed by a bullshit piece of shit trash camera called 2 megapixel depth camera that isn't actually usable on its own. And even if you literally put isolation tape over it and capture photos, you most likely won't ever see a difference between the photos that you get to capture in portrait mode, because it's usually when this would be used. And yeah, it's not going to be really. So if this gets scratched right here, the lower one, you don't need to worry at all. This will completely not impact any kind of quality of your photos. You can actually take the hammer and smash it out, and also you won't be affected by it. So the only camera that you care about is the top one, which is the 108 megapixel. Now, with these cameras, even though it's 108 megapixels, you're limited to recording at 1080p at measly 30 frames per second. Wow. Truly groundbreaking stuff right here in 2025. Now, if we take a look at the selfie, maybe it does better, right? No, it does not. It's an 8 megapixel wide sensor that also does 1080p 30 frames because reasons. Yes, better specifications aren't part of this device. All the budget got blown up on the AI button that doesn't have AI functionalities. Awesome. Now, last thing to talk about is the battery right here, and this does have a pretty decent size right here. It's a 6,500 milliampere battery that can charge at 35 watts using cable. No wireless charging, obviously. So pretty good cell right here. With also decent charging speed. Obviously outperforms my phone, which is supposedly called a flagship, being the S25, just the normal one, the Ultra ones and the bigger ones do charge faster than this, but not by much. And considering they do cost nearly 10 times more, charging by like 10 watts more is kind of an L for Samsung when a budget phone can do that almost as well. Also without blowing up like Samsung devices do. Nudge to their rings. You might want to take those rings off and inspect them if your battery is bulging out and not in a fun way, because you might be in trouble. Anyway, so there it is. Now, for the price that Honor wants to charge you for this phone, I just consider this to be an absolute garbage device. 150 euros. It is a budget phone, but it's kind of leaving the $100 range and approaching to the mid-range of 200. And at that price tag, it's going to start competing against some massive hitters, like for instance the CMF phone. Now, at 150, you might not be able to find the CMF phone brand new, but you can sure shit find it in second hand. And boy oh boy, is that device released, what is it, like 2 years ago? Let me quickly check. CMF phone 1. That device was released July 8th of 2024. Okay. So anyway, that device, like I'm mentioning, CMF phone 1, MSRP was apparently $200 or 149 euros. So if it was 140, basically 50 euros, it's literally the same price as this one, as this is 150 euros. So this phone literally is trying to sell at the same price as the CMF phone. And just to give you a little bit of a comparison, just like a quick, fun comparison, same price, right? We have a smaller battery in that CMF phone, okay? Slower charging at 33 watts instead of the 35. 2 watts won't really make a difference. The battery size does make a little bit of a difference, as 5,000 versus 6.5, that is a step down, right? But what you get for that same price is, number one, higher resolution at 1080 by 2400, so you're actually getting a full HD resolution, unlike we have right here. You get AMOLED display, so inky blacks, perfect contrast ratios, 120 Hz refresh rate, and a 960 Hz pull rate for the display, so it's very responsive, very fast, and with basically no delay. It also has much brighter display. So we're just talking about display that is completely taking a steaming pile of shit all over the this phone right here, which like I said, it's just a joke right here. So if we move out of the realm of display and into realm of performance, we're looking at a 6 to 8 gigabytes of RAM device, so basically the same as this one, but you also get the same storage from 128 to 256, but there's a improvement. You get expandable storage. So that's one thing. Another one would be the processor powering it. The Dimensity 7300 being a much faster processor than what we have right here for the same price. I want to again cement this in. It's a same price phone with much better specifications. And in terms of cameras, that's another step up. You get to record at 1080p 60 frames and 4K 30. While the selfie gets you 16 megapixels with 1080p 30, so higher pixel count, but in terms of video recording and frame rates, it's about the same. It just might look a little bit better. But the back ones are going to be improvement. Even though it's a 50 megapixel sensor, it lets you do 60 frames instead of the measly 30 that this one can, at the same price, while also offering you 4K. So like I mentioned, CMF phone might be a much better option compared to this. It's a device that was already released like a year ago, and it still outperforms phones that are released right now. So I'm not really sure like why they're wanting so much money for something that isn't necessarily that great. The silicon carbon battery in here, at least I presume it's a silicon carbon considering it's a 6,500 milliamps, isn't worth enough and isn't such a great upgrade to ask you for 150 euros when devices that are much faster, offering you a basically better deal, are costing the same amount, and they're just sacrificing the silicon carbon battery because back then it wasn't as prominent of a idea to put it in your phone. And also it's a US company, so US is a little bit slow when it comes down to adapting to some newer tech like the silicon carbon. But in any case, this is the HONOR X7d, or sorry, that is an accurate name probably, but it's X7d. Oh, and I also didn't mention one last important portion. This phone right here is a 4G phone in 2025. The one that I was talking about is actually a, I believe, 5G phone, though I can't really confirm it quickly. So in any case, even if it's not, it's still going to outperform this one at the same price range. So there's like literally no competition here. So I highly recommend checking out the CMF phone instead of this one if you haven't picked it up. And also, obviously, if you have the choice to go for such a device. If you don't, which is possible, maybe, I don't know, in China or wherever you are, these devices aren't being sold, then you have much less of a choice. And obviously, when it comes down to price to performance, the CMF phone is literally like the best thing you can get so far, and there is not many other devices that would compete at such a performance to price. So this is the one that I always bring up just because it's baffling to me that the company is even selling it. I think that's probably the best way to say, because I don't even know if they're making profit on it, considering how good of a deal it is. If they are making profit, then HONOR definitely is trying to make profit on this one, much higher than they should be. So anyway, that's about it. That sums it up. Not the best device for the money. There are much better options for you to go for, or well, single option that you can go for that is significantly better than this at the same price. So I'll recommend checking that out, and only start to look into this one if the other option isn't available. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.